Against the Ropes podcast.
Contra las cuerdas.
Against the Ropes podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. AtR podcast. Gio Garcia here. I'm alongside Christian Mosqueda. Back in the building, back for another episode. Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody. Obviously, Gio, a little slow in boxing weekend. We're gonna recap some of the fights that happened this past weekend with Oscar Duarte and Sims Jr. alongside, the latest belt holder. Obviously, some of you guys have seen some of those interviews that we've had with Coach Roma and the most avoided man, arguably in all of boxing, clearly at 154 with Bakram Murtazalia. But yeah, let's get into it, Gio. Give me your thoughts on the fight with Oscar Duarte. We know that there's a little bit of drama going on in that Golden Boy stable. Obviously, we know the drama that I'm talking about with Oscar and Ryan Garcia. Obviously, there's one fight left in their contract, Gio, but the man that fought this last weekend was Oscar Duarte. Very competitive fight against Kenneth Sims Jr. Give me your thoughts on that fight, Gio.
Yeah, very good, exciting fight. You see the scorecards there. One judge actually had it a draw. Another judge had it 115-113 for Duarte and 116-112 for Duarte, who now improves to 30-2, 23 KOs, 29 years old. He has that power, and I think that was a difference. Both men threw a lot of punches, more so Oscar Duarte. I think he forced Kenneth Sims Jr. to fight, a guy with not a ton of power, only 8 KOs in 22 fights. Very exciting fight. I would say one of the better fights that I've seen this year. But yeah, I think the ultimate deciding factor was Duarte's power, his ability to continue moving forward. He did that pretty much the whole fight. And yeah, I agree. I strongly disagree with the judge who had it a draw. I think it was a clear win for Duarte. At the end of the day, his hands got raised and they got the right winner.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, Gio. I feel like Duarte's volume punching was the difference maker. Ken Sims Jr. fought a good fight, in my opinion. He gave a good account of himself, boxed well, just lacked activity down the end, down the stretch. And that's something that is prevalent in American boxers. African-American boxers usually, very, very boxer style-esque. And, in this case, even though he boxed well, he was just not as, efficient, not throwing as many punches as I feel like he should have. He should have taken a few more risks. But again, we get it. Oscar Duarte, heavy hitter. We saw those muscles on display this Saturday. Came forward fighter. Very, very, prototype of the Robert Garcia stable there. So did enough to win. Like you said, one judge had it a draw. Shows how competitive that match was. But, in my opinion, 8-4, a good decision for Oscar Duarte. So yeah, again, Gio actually stopped by Robert Garcia's gym earlier this week, and of course, he was already in Chicago, but I was able to catch up with some of those guys up at the Robert Garcia boxing gym, and hopefully we'll get some more interviews this week. Obviously, some of those names out there. Our boy Raymond Morataya, who's been a little shelved. We'll do an interview with him and with his dad maybe later this month. But yeah, man, again, a really really good card, Gio. This is one of those cards that was a little under the radar, didn't get the love that those mainstream cards get. But again, man, very competitive, fair. Jojo also, having a good affair there with Regis Prograis. Give me your thoughts on that fight.
Yeah, good scrap. Kind of sad to see both men at the end of their careers, but it would turn out to be an entertaining fight between Jojo Diaz and Regis, the Rougarou Prograis, who obtained a victory. A lot of people, some people thought it was closer. Look, you see two judges there had him 96-94 for the Rougarou, 98-92. Yeah, the fight seemed a little closer, but yeah, I think the right winner was Regis Prograis. Kind of a little surprising to see him get hurt a couple times by Jojo Diaz.
Yeah.
Prograis 36, Joseph Diaz 32. He seems older than he is. His 8th loss. The racing he lost to Duarte actually got stopped by Duarte in 2024. And you see the bunch of losses there: Cepeda, Gesta, Haney, 3 in a row for Jojo Diaz a few years ago. But he's still there, and hey, they might run it back. It was an exciting fight, this one.
Yeah, now that you mentioned the ages, Gio, again, it almost feels like it's flipped. It almost feels like Jojo has been, active for the longest time, and he's been in there with so many fights. It almost feels like his prime was 7 years ago, 6 years ago. But at 32, again, it feels like it's Regis that's 32, and Jojo that's in his later 30s. But like you said, it was a very competitive affair as well. It's one of those fights that again didn't get the love, didn't get under the radar. A lot of people see these guys at the end of their careers at crossroads, past their prime. But yeah, very very shocking for me early round to see Jojo almost steal one. Just having a Rougarou on his feet almost in that first round. But yeah, man, again another good affair. Like we said, it looks like these guys are definitely at the tail end of their careers. Almost it's just stay busy money fights. Not the biggest names, but just those kinds of fights where you're trying just to cash out at the end.
Yeah, and Rougarou was coming off a couple losses. Jack Catterall, Devin Haney, and then he had that close one at home versus Donito Sorria. Very good fights recently for Rougarou. But yeah, 36 years old. He probably has a couple paydays left. He wants a top dog, but yeah, I think I don't know if they'll put him in there against one of the top guys at 140. I think that the bout with Jojo Diaz kind of went under the radar, rightfully so. Both men older, obviously. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, it turned out to be a pretty good competitive fight. Big Bro says Regis clearly won, landing that stiff jab consistently throughout the fight. They should both consider retirement. And he also talks about Duarte. He said he would like to see him against Matias. Yeah, that's fire against fire, that one, man. Duarte, that's his style. He comes forward, relentless. He felt comfortable taking punches in this one against Kenneth Sims Jr. Like we said, a guy with not a ton of power, but he was pretty accurate. But yeah, Oscar Duarte's style is very, very attractive to the boxing fan, exciting, entertaining. So yeah, fight versus Suriel Matias would be great. Suriel Matias, who is a champion again, and yeah, I think Duarte is gonna get a title shot. He's an exciting fighter. We remember that loss recently to Ryan Garcia that kind of put him on the map, but
Yeah.
and that was a, a crazy loss. He was stopped in that one, but
Yeah.
he's a durable guy. He has a good chin, and he's racking up those wins. So yeah, I can see him again in there against a champion.
Yeah, the thing with Oscar Duarte, Gio, I feel like after that Ryan Garcia loss, I almost felt like that put him in that B plus kind of pile. Again, he's obviously, with one of the best, coaches, one of the best camps in that Robert Garcia. So he's in good position. Obviously, being promoted by Oscar, he's in good position there business wise. I just felt after that loss of Ryan, it kind of felt like this is one of those guys that's just a little level below those top guys, those top names, the Ryan Garcias, the Tank Davises, those names. But no, just hearing about what's going on with Ryan Garcia and Oscar de la Hoya, you almost feel like that's that stepson. That's that stepson that could step up. That's going to be getting those opportunities if Ryan Garcia were to go his own way, were to go with a different promoter after his next fight, which is one more fight on his contract with Oscar de la Hoya and Golden Boy. So, I mean, that's the opening that Oscar Duarte needs. Again, he's in great position with the coach that he's got. He's in great position with the promotion company that he's at. We'll just see if he's able to step up and erase those losses that he has. He only has two, only one by knockout, I believe, early in his career. So, like you said, he's got a great durable style, and we'll see if he can get one of these guys like Matias and change it all up for himself. Again, he's in good position to shock. So yeah, again, shout out to Oscar Duarte for doing a fantastic job. I heard somewhere they hit a lot of, I think he was in a motorcycle accident, Gio, 3 weeks ago. And so he's had a lot of things to overcome. So the fact that he got this W against a very good boxer in Sims Jr. just tells you what kind of, mentality Duarte has.
Yeah, and he went to his hometown, to Chicago, to get that dub. So impressive win. We got some comments here. Nerd says Prograis should do the right thing and pass the torch to the young buck, El General Vargas. You see there on your screen, 15 and 0, 13 KOs. El General, son of the legend Fernando Vargas, 21 years old. They're bringing him along well. They're putting him on all the undercards. And as Big Bro said, Regis doesn't seem interested. He wants one of the top dogs. And I did see the interview where he said he's not interested in fighting a guy like Vargas. Big Bro says he doesn't want to fight Moten either, Kermel. So,
yeah, I was gonna say if Nerd is saying pass on the torch to Young Buck, you're not just handing that. You got to get in there one of those Young Bucks. But I agree that I think it's time at that age, especially with the being his latter 30s. I think it's time for him to start considering retirement. Maybe one good name, even in defeat. Call it a day. Again, you don't want to become the next Yuriorkis Gamboa, and just being used by the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. I mean, it's honorable to pass it on to that one young buck, and no shame in that. But when you start taking losses, Gio, man, again, I've been a proponent of enjoying that money once you've made it, man. You don't want to have these faculties where you can't enjoy your money, where your physical is not there, So hopefully Regis is watching us and enjoys. I know he's made plenty of money, so maybe one more fight, Gio, and call it a career.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. Josh Taylor, right, Gio, just retired. So these are guys that, 5-6 years ago, that was their prime, that was their peak. But there's no defeating Father Time. So shout out to Josh Taylor. I would say he's arguably Scotland's biggest and best star to date, and I'm sure he's going to inspire many others.
100%.
Alrighty, Gio. Let's rewind, Gio. I know we didn't have a podcast last week. We were out there getting interviews, but Xander Zayas did become a belt holder, title holder at 154. Give me your thoughts on that fight, and give me your thoughts on Xander Zayas as a whole.
I don't have many thoughts on Xander, man.
Not a whole lot.
For the past 2 years, I don't think I've thought any thoughts about Xander, really.
Damn.
But you can't hate on the guy. He got the opportunity for a belt, took advantage, and now he's a champion at 22 years old. He's the youngest champion currently. So, I mean, you can't hate on him for that. Top Rank does a great job of, raising, these young fighters like we just spoke about Emiliano Vargas, right? Building them up, and they gave him a chance at 22. I heard some people like Virgil weren't too happy. There's a lot of very good fighters at 154, so not sure how this was a title fight, but you can't hate on him for taking that opportunity. Like Em said, you get that one chance, or would you capture it or let it slip? And he captured that title.
Yeah, and Gio, you're alluding to the Virgil Ortiz tweets. I read them fully. Pretty much, he's criticizing, how he got the belt. Obviously, he gave him props for winning. Like you said, he seized that opportunity, got the belt, is not a title holder, but the fact or the manner in which Xander won that fight against virtually an unknown fighter, not highly ranked, for that vacant belt. But and then I guess Virgil did say why wasn't his fight against Madrimov, who is more well known, top 15, top 10 in the 154s. Why wasn't that sanctioned for that belt? And that's he brings up a good point. It seems like Virgil doesn't want to carve spill milk. He just wants to get Xander in there. And Xander at 22, I agree with you, Gio. Hasn't been a whole lot of movement the last 2 years, but to get a title at 22 years of age, it's pretty impressive. Now, like many fighters have said, including Background, he's a title holder now. He's gonna have to step up. But yeah, man. As for me, I think those criticisms are warranted. You know, okay, so you got this belt through politics, powers that be. Okay, cool. Now it's time to defend that belt. So for me, it's almost like I'll let this one slide if I start to see him fight against the other champions or very high rated mandatories. But I'm someone that has said I've interviewed Xander Size, good kid, nice kid, very team kind of player. Somebody that you would want to build your company around. I've said that time and time again. I do admire his grit early on for wanting to fight. For these titles against the top guys. Now it's time to now that you have the belt, now you have to show up. So, one criticism I have of Virgil is that he's never had a true belt, in my opinion. But it's let's get it on. As long as you guys get in that ring, I don't think anybody can say much.
Yeah, and there's that tweet up on your screen. I'm not gonna read the whole thing because it's very, very long.
Yeah.
Let's see some of the things that Virgil was saying. He says, "Congrats, Sander, on your win becoming a world champ. You were eventually going to do it, so I'm not surprised. But let's keep everything 100. You got a gift. My last two opponents were top 10 in this division. The opponent you just fought with a 33-4 and barely scratches the top 15 mark. All facts here," says Virgil. "Try and
Yeah.
dispute them if you want. If I had won my world title against your opponent, they would be tearing me to shreds right now. It's okay though because you're young." And he continues, and I honestly haven't read the whole thing. I'm not interested in reading the whole thing, but you get his point. You get his point, and
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the long tweets and passive aggressiveness, but at least you're building the fight if it's going to happen potentially. I highly, highly, highly doubt that Top Rank would allow Xander Zayas to fight against one of the top contenders, let alone the champion. He's not facing Sebastian Fundora. Let's keep it real. He's not facing Bakram Murtasaliev. Top Rank is smart. He's a young guy, 22. They're not going to allow him to fight any of the top dogs. I think they're going to try to keep that belt as long as he could. I personally don't think he's ready for any of the top dogs, but like I said, you can't hate on him. He got a belt. We know this game is mostly politics. I think, especially nowadays, it's probably like 80% politics, 20% in the ring stuff. So, he has a good team behind him. What can you say about that? I don't think it's his fault. You know, going to some comments though. That's just my opinion. Let's see. Um, Xander looked good, says Big Bro, but his opponent was very limited. Xander doesn't deserve that belt, honestly, seeing who else is in that division. And I'm surprised Chris isn't, out here vouching for Xander. You're a Xander guy, Chris. So yeah, I'm a little surprised.
No, you again. It's logic. I think Virgil made some great points. I think the fans are making some great points again on his character alone. I'm team Zayas 100%. I think he's a great kid, but the way he got this belt is, yeah, of course, it's a little suspect. It's like you said, politics are always at play. Um, I even posed this question to Baktimir Mulekezi about asking him his thoughts on a 22-year-old Xander getting this title, and he pretty much said, like, I don't care if he's 22. If you're a belt holder, you gotta face me. The champions have to face the champions. The belt holders have to face the belt holders, and he's not wrong. So again, Shout out to the people around Xander for putting him in position to get that title. But now I can't defend you too much, buddy. You gotta step up. And again, those criticisms will come from the fight fans, from the true boxing fans. They're gonna, as much as he's got this great persona, this great personality, those criticisms will not be defendable, even by a guy like me that I'm high on Xander. So yeah, man, I will see what happens, but you're a title holder. You got to step up and we'll see. Again, we've heard talks that he wants Virgil. I don't see that happening. I believe Virgil and Thurman, Giro. I think those are that's the fight that might be made next. Nothing official, of course. We're gonna have to wait till the news breaks out, but that's what I'm hearing right now. That it might be Virgil versus Thurman next.
Well, first of all, Keith Thurman will get hurt, so keep him away from Virgil. Have him fight Tim
Yeah.
Zhu or someone like that. That fight was
Right.
supposed to happen anyway. Give
Yeah.
Tim Zhu a payday. Have that fight in Australia. Good comeback fight for Timmy. But yeah, come on, Keith. Let's keep it real. Second of all, I want to go to some of the responses here because I think the guys make some good points. Big Bro said him talking down to Virgil, saying, "Talk to me when you're a world champ," is weak. He knows that Virgil said what Virgil said was all facts. He's not a proven guy until he fights top 5 or 6 guy next. And then Hayden says, or Kyle says, I don't think Fundora had vacated the belt before Virgil Madrimov fought. Yeah, and that's true. And I think Fundora kind of messed up a lot of things because he was holding on to the belt. He was looking for a big payday. He was looking for the Spence fight. And then once he didn't get that, he said, oh man, Murtasaliev is on my tail. Let me get rid of this one. Let me go fight Tim Zhu again, get my payday. And, he, like Murtasaliev said in the interviews that you did with his coach and him, man, they didn't want it. They showed zero interest in unifying Sebastian Fundora and his team. So that kind of threw things off. And then now there was a vacant belt, and now this fight somehow, some way becomes a fight for a belt. That there's just a lot about who right? Bob Arum has a lot of power, obviously, and I'm sure Xander is backed by a lot of good people there. A lot of people who know what they're doing. And let's see, there was another one here. Nerd says true boxing fans can see Virgil is the goods. Look at Rolly, a sitting champion. He is levels below Virgil. And yeah, I think belts have lost a lot of value nowadays. I don't give Floyd Mayweather Jr. too much credit, but you're probably not going to hear me give him much props on this podcast. But the one thing I do give him credit for is he never cared really about the belts. Once he got later into his career, he would vacate. He would fight whoever he wanted. He would get the biggest paydays. He never won undisputed. And at some point you can't allow these sanctioning bodies to dictate, who you got to fight and who's going to be a champion and who's going to do this and do that. Virgil has had very good fights. The Madrimov fight was good. The Bohachuk fight was good. So I think even him without having an official championship belt, you can say, I think people will consider him easily maybe top 3 in the division. So yeah, I don't put too much value behind these belts. Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool accolade for Xander Zayas at his age to win it, but I agree 100% with Nerd. Boxing fans know. Chris still there?
Yeah, I hear you now, bro. Go.
Yeah.
Hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We're just capping off the conversation on Zayas. Last thoughts on Xander Zayas.
Last thought, he's gonna have to defend those belts against somebody of of weight, of substance, and if not, again, it's gonna be hard for anybody to defend him. So again, I think Xander has a bright future, but grabbing that belt at 22, you're gonna have to defend that belt at 22.
Yeah, Virgil 23-0, 21 KOs, 27 years old. Madrimov, Boachuk, Tomas Delorme, his last few wins. So yeah, Virgil did sound a little salty, but hey, you gotta insert your name in there, man. You gotta create these narratives, these storylines for these guys to be interested and fight you, man. Murtasaliev, he's Russian. he doesn't have the largest following here in the U.S. He doesn't speak the language. You know, luckily for him, he has Coach Roma next to him who can translate for him, and he's also very good at speaking and letting their voices be heard. But yeah, that's what you got to do nowadays, man. 'Cause other guys like Fundora are just gonna ignore you and fight whoever they want. You know, not to say he's ducking, but hey, he had no interest in unifying. And if you're a champion, that just doesn't make any sense, right? You don't want to fight the other top guys. Murtazaliev is arguably the number one guy at 154, and none of these guys want to fight him. So yeah, I can see why Virgil's, opening his mouth and saying, "Hey, you want it? I'm here." But that's that on Xander. Like I said, can't really blame him if I'm in his shoes. You take the opportunity and you got to take it. Let's see. Let's go to some comments here before we move on to the last few topics here. Big Bro says he might move up to 160 for fighting any of the top 5 guys. He kind of looks bigger and still only 22. 160 is a very weak division, he says. I can see Top Rank giving him a couple easy fights and then moving him up to 160. Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen. I haven't heard really his name being brought up too much. At 154, I think everyone respected him, but kind of thought that he was probably not gonna be a champion, until 2026, 2027. It happened now, so guys are gonna be calling his name, man. We always talk about, when one of those guys like Pitbull Cruz, sorry, Chris, I know you're a big fan of his, but when a guy like that has a belt, man, everybody's out there, man, raising their hands. Hey, I'm here. I want all the smoke. So I'm sure that's going to happen to Xander Zayas too.
Yeah, and again, Gio, I think you guys are putting a blueprint to how Top Rank kind of moves. If I see that, man, I'm call that criticism, man. Again, I see that happening as well. Him at 22, a year from now, that's what, 2 fights a year, maybe one more year in that 154, another 2 fights, and moving up to 160 again. Yeah, I can see that happening. But yeah, man, it's gonna come with a lot of criticism. We'll see if Xander decides to fight one of these guys and decides to, go against, the mouth that feeds you, which is his promotion company and his backers. But I'm gonna echo some of the comments that I've read on some of the interviews we've done, Gio. When it comes to Pandora, I think I agree with Big Bro. I don't think that Fondora is afraid to fight any of these 154 pounders. I think I'm going to echo what Big Bro says. I think it's his management. I think it's his manager who says it doesn't make sense for business wise, and we can see why they're making those moves business wise. But man, I want to say that I don't think Fondora is afraid to face any of the 154 win, lose or draw. I think he does take those fights, but I think it's the managers there that are kind of speaking for him. So again, we're going to be hopefully interviewing a lot of the 154 pounders in the coming weeks. Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Robert Garcia Camp are down the street, Moreno Valley, 1 hour away. We're going to go back and visit Coach Roma maybe 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, and we'll see if we can catch Fundora again. I know he's a little bit more secluded. He might jab me from like 6 miles away, but hey, we're going to try to get this 154-pound division moving and interview some of these big names. Again, this is one of the hottest division, and I think it's a disservice for these guys not to be fighting each other. So if we need to add a little bit of pressure with the fans, backing up their own opinions and thoughts, that's what we're going to do, Gio.
Yeah, and we like Fundora. You've interviewed him
Yeah.
several times. I like Fundora. I like his style. He's entertaining, you know. So yeah, I think it might be his management too. And Chris, we're no managers, right? But
No.
I mean, I don't think it's rocket science either. You know, I think there's one thing that all those guys had in common: the Mike Tysons, the Oscar De La Hoyas, the Manny Pacquiao's, the Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you could probably answer that, right? What's one thing they had in common? Early,
They all
early
fought
on
each
in early on in their careers, they did what?
They all fought each other.
They took
It
tough
was a tough
fights.
fight.
Mike Tyson, the youngest heavyweight champion, Oscar De La Hoya after his gold medal, within what was it, like 13, 14 fights, he was already fighting big names. Manny
Yeah.
Pacquiao, when he came over to the States, he didn't take easy fights, man. This guy was out here fighting Marquez, Morales, Barrera. Canelo by 22 had already fought Floyd Mayweather, Erislandy Lara, Shane Mosley, big names. So I don't think it's rocket science, man. These guys are out here 30 years old, looking for the biggest fights of their career. Look at Terrence Crawford. I always criticize the guy. 36 years old, and you're gonna have the biggest fight of your career. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a manager, but I don't think it's rocket science either.
Yeah, no. Again, it's been a minute where the welterweight division and the middleweight divisions have been, you know, where they're not getting the light. Again, right now the 154 division is the hottest division. That's where that's a division where you can make so many fights. Again, props to Fondora for winning this last bout, Gio. Again, after that Mendoza fight, I thought he was almost done. I thought he was going to be so chinny. I felt that he was just going to be, just food for these big fish, and he has been able to turn that around. Again, props to him. So I'd like to see him test himself against the very best at 154. And again, all the other 154 pounders know that he's a tricky guy. So it's not no easy task.
Crawford looked at the guys behind him at 54, and he said, "Man, let me get out of here. Let me get a payday." But hey, Kyle has a good comment. He says Fundora needs to keep money coming in so he can pay for Harvard. Yeah, he's
I
going to
read
college, man. That's pretty cool. Congrats to him. And yeah, I agree. I think a good comeback story there after getting stopped. Now he's a champion again. He might be the top dog at 54. Let's keep it real. He has some big wins under his belt. Tough guy to fight. He's super tall, awkward. So yeah, it's a great story, and I'm happy he came back. But yeah, you got to fight. You got to fight the champions. There's no way around it. I think every champion at some point, the people start demanding those big fights. So that's that. Talking about champions, Chris. I'm sure you've heard Rolly Romero got upgraded to a champion, right? He was holding one of those belts. Jaron Ennis is moving to 154, so the WBA made him the super champion, whatever that means, and Romero now becomes the official titleist for won't even say the sanctioning body. I don't know if I said it already, but it doesn't matter. Romero 17-2, 13 KOs, had a big victory against Ryan Garcia. You see it there when he dropped him. And yeah, we saw a lot of comments of people saying, "Oh, Pacquiao's back, so they're gonna try to get him a belt." I had read that comment. Somebody, I forgot where I read it. Somebody had said, "Oh, watch Rolly's gonna get upgraded, and they're gonna make Pacquiao Rolly." So it's exactly what happened. PBC. So they're trying to keep it in house, and yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Pacquiao gets another chance here, either against Rolly or the rematch against Barrios. I think it's up to him and trying to see what's the best decision for him at 46 years old. I still think Barrios is a very winnable fight for anyone. But yeah, that Rolly one is enticing too, and I think Pacquiao can make a lot of money fighting Rolly Romero.
Dude, I'm gonna say it right now. I think this Rolly win over Ryan Garcia has been the biggest win for an underdog, for a fighter that's just supposed to come and take part and play the B side. This is gonna be the biggest win since Camboso's beat Del Primo, in my opinion. It's crazy. If he gets his Pacquiao fight, man, that's money that's gonna set you up for life. Like after that, if Rolly wanted to retire, if he gets that Pacquiao fight, that money, he's good. He's set. And again, this was a Rolly that was after that Gervonta knockout, after getting knocked out by People Cruz. Like people thought, oh, this guy's just gonna be a feeder for the rest of these up and coming fighters. So man, talk about capitalizing, Gio, on 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 all the excuses that Ryan Garcia brought up, that that his family has brought up, that he wasn't 100%, that he wasn't in the best health, that he's been too inactive. Like, dude, we don't care none of that. We don't care about none of that. Rolly capitalized on that moment. Ryan had nothing to show come fight night. It's if he didn't even want to be there. So again, shout out to Rolly. If he's able to capitalize and get this Pacquiao fight, props to him, man. Straight up.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I read Big Bro's comment, but before we get to that, yeah, we had Rolly on early on. in our podcast when he had a few fights in. You know, the whole topic of that convo was basically him sparring Ryan. And yeah, like you said, it looked like, you know, he was building a good career for himself, and then he took those two brutal losses. I thought he was done, man. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm glad he's back because he's an entertaining guy. Boxing needs entertaining guys. There's already too many boring guys, Chris. We need some entertaining guys. And he seems like he's more focused. I think he got like baptized or something. He turned a little more religious.
Really.
In the recent interviews, I heard him. He was, you know, he sounded a lot more calm. You know, a lot more assertive. He said he's changed his lifestyle. I don't know if, how long that has lasted, but good for him, man. He got the title, and you know, now he's gonna get a big payday. I thought he was probably done too, man. That's a great comeback story too. We talked about the Fundora one, but um, yeah, Big Bro says, going back to that comment, it relates to what's on your screen right here. He says, imagine Barrios versus Rolly unification. Got to be the worst welterweight unification fight ever. Yeah, look, we talked about. I believe Big Bro said 160 is weak right now. Look at 147, man. This is bad. Brian Norman Jr., Mantas Staniones, Giovanni Santillan, Rohan Polanco, Shakram Gayasov, Alexis Rocha. This is all in order, by the way. This is from 1 to 10. 7, Raul Curiel. 8, Mario Barrios. 9, Manny Pacquiao. 10, Iko Esuma. This is bad, ladies and gentlemen. 147. What happened to one of the hottest divisions historically? This is very bad. And now Rolly is a champion at 147. So yeah, this is a big opportunity for someone to snatch up that belt. No disrespect, Rolly. No disrespect. But yeah, now I'm sure Ryan Garcia is gonna raise his hand and say, "Hey, I want the rematch because now this is for a title."
Dan, Joe, you calling that division weak? That's definitely going to be a short. That's a hot take, and it's gonna make the rounds. But
Very
Gio,
weak, Chris. Very weak. Very weak. Very weak. I'm tripling down.
Gio, I gotta see 4 of these guys next week when I go to Moreno Valley. When I go hit up Robert Garcia gym, I'll be like, "Hey, I didn't say that, man. I didn't say that, man. The fan said it." But I mean, you're not wrong, man. This is one of the weakest 147s we've had in a long time. Again, so much so that so many people have said it. That's why the great Manny Pacquiao came out of retirement and is at 46 considering a belt. At 46, Gio, nobody should be wanting to fight any of the top welterweights. Again, I don't care how great you are. A 46-year-old should not feel like they could get off that couch and take a belt from one of these young guns. So again, that just shows the state of the welterweight division. Sure, these guys are title holders and they're in their physical prime, but just that level is not what it used to be. So again, 154 right now is hot. 147, 160, not so much.
Yeah, let's go to some comments here real quick before we get out of here, Chris. Start thinking about your last few topics that you want to get off your chest. Let's see. Oh man, there was a good one here. 2-time email champ, like Devin said, says Big Bro. And then he says Ryan's best chance to win a world to be a world champ is the rematch for Rolly's belt. 147 being weak is not a hot take at all. Thank you, nerd. Appreciate that. I'd say it's a consensus. Yeah. Chris, do you dispute that? Do you like this division?
It's been better. It's been way better in the past for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it was a hot take either, nerd. Thanks for having my back. Let's see. There was another one. Yeah,
I was just teasing Joe because I gotta see some of these guys next week, man. Like, hey, I heard you call this week, man. I'll be like, sure. I didn't say that.
He's just looking. Chris is looking for his well-being. That's all. Smart. He's smart. Chris is out in these streets. I'm not. I stay home. All right. Let's see. Big Bro going back to the promoter. He says the promoter Lukowitz, the same one Benavides has that was trying to give terms to Goatnello. He's clearly a used car salesman trying to just make the most money out of his fighters. He says, "Hey man, if you trust your product, you're gonna put him in there against the best, man." To me, that's disrespectful to Fundora. To me, his promoter / manager, whatever he is, he's saying, "Hey man, I don't trust you, so I'm gonna try to get you big paydays. If you trust your fighter, you're gonna be like Murtasaliev. Put whoever whoever in there. I'm good. I'll fight anyone.
Dude, the used car salesman got me weak, man. That's just hilarious, man. These fans be coming up with the funniest comments, man. That's comedy, man. But I agree. I agree that Fundora wants these fights. It's just powers that be that are telling him where to move and how to move, and yeah. But I would love to see that Bakram versus Fundora fight. I don't think it's easy for Bakram at all. I think it's a very close 50-50 fight in my opinion. Both men have more than enough weapons to hurt each other, so that's a very tough fight in my opinion. Fight of the year for me.
Oscarin, Sugar Shane, etc. rolling in their graves, seeing this welterweight division right now. Vargas, Tito Trinidad says big bro. Man, Iquarte will take all these guys out, Chris. Remember Iquarte?
Corte,
He will
yeah, he landed
defeat
some
all
good
these.
shots on Karim.
Yeah.
Man, I
Former
agree,
Oscar
man.
opponent. Yeah, I think man, that's crazy. These guys have Mario Barrios ranked at number 8, and he's a titleist, Chris. That's
That's
wild.
crazy. It's Brad Norman Jr. Staniones. Yeah, any other time these guys, no disrespect, any other time these guys would be ranked like 15 through 20, but it's the state of the division that we're in, and the 140s. I mean, there's a few that can make that jump and can start, catching titles, but they're one reason or another they're not doing it, man.
It's so bad. Boots and is left. He's like, man, I'm out of here. Get me out of this division.
He wants to challenge himself at 154 again. Oh, I was gonna pose you this question, but since we're on the topic of Jaron Ennis, Gio, let me ask you from number 1 to number 5, who are your top 154? If you had to bet the house, if you had to bet the car, if you had to put your life savings, name me your number 1 through 5, where the best guy is your number 1 and all the way to 5.
That's very, very, very tough. All right. Let me look up the rankings at 154 so I can not miss anyone. But look, I'm gonna be straight up. I'm gonna put some respect on Fundora's name. I think I'm gonna put him at 1 because of what he's
Wow.
done in that division. Let me try to find that 154. To me personally, I like Virgil as the best at 154.
Okay.
Boots Ennis, he's definitely got to be top 5 here. Let me pull up the list for you guys. Like I said, let me not miss anyone. All right, here 154, 147. I don't want to see that list ever again, man. They had him number 1 ESPN at 147, Ennis, and I think that was a given. They have Terrence Crawford as number 1. Of course they would. He's not even there anymore. I still wouldn't have him at number 1. He had one fight and struggled against Madrimov. They have Virgil at 2, Sebastian Fundora at 3, Murtazaliev at 4, Xander Zayas at 5, Madrimov at 6, Tim Zhu at 7, Sergey Bochuk at 8, Keith Thurman at 9, Jesus Ramos at 10. So to me, I'm gonna put some respect on Fundora. I'm gonna say 1.
Yeah.
My personal number 1 is Virgil Ortiz Jr. However, but I'm gonna put him at 2. All right, Virgil, you gotta beat one of these champions.
Yeah.
1 Fundora, 2 Virgil. Well, wait, what am I saying? I'm sorry, man. Murtasaliev 1, Fundora 2,
Okay.
Virgil Ortiz 3.
Yeah.
I don't even think the rest matter. I wouldn't put Zayas up there. I'm telling you that much. I would probably put Bohachuk over him. Not gonna lie, and maybe Zayas 5. Maybe. Madrimov is a great fighter too, but he's got a couple losses. I'll go with Murtasaliev 1, Fundora 2, Virgil 3. Who did I say at 4? Bochuk 4, Xander 5.
Okay. Not mad at that. Not mad at that at all. Okay.
And then yeah, Boots. I guess once Boots gets some action, I'll probably replace Bochuk and or Zayas with him.
Yeah. So you're just going based on like what have you done at
At 54,
154?
specifically at
Yeah.
154. Now, if you're talking about the best, I think Virgil. I
Yeah.
think Murtazaliev 1, Virgil 2, probably Boots 3, Fundora 4,
Yeah.
and probably Bochuk 5. I'm sorry, I'm giving Bochuk a lot of credit, but that dude, he's the real deal, man.
Yeah.
I think if
Yeah. I'm not
you
mad.
want to be considered a champion, you got to get through him or somebody better than him.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think you put Bochuk up there even before the title holder's eyes because he's just been in there with all those names at 154. Even though he's come up short, he's at least fought them, and he's fought better people than Xander did for that title. So I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at your 1 through 3. Number one, man, I feel like Virgil is the goods out of that 154 division. But if we're going based on who he's fought, uh, I can't give him that number one spot just yet. So I would say number one. I want to say Murtazali at number one, number two Fundora, number three Virgil, number four. And we're not counting Terrence, right? Or else I'd have Terrence up like way up there, but we're not counting Terrence because he's moving up to fight Canelo. I would say number four. Ooh, I would say, and this is based on who you fought in that 154. I'm gonna say Boachuk and then number five Madrimov. But I agree that once Boots starts to fight guys, he's gonna make them look. He's gonna show why he's the goods. But just because he's barely entering, I don't rank him up there just yet. But definitely, Boots is gonna hit that 1 through 5 very soon.
Big Bro says 1 Virgil, 2 Murtazaliev, 3 Madrimov, 4 Boots, 5 Boachuk.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's a good
Not mad
list.
at it. Not mad at it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I see Boots cracking the top three once he gets a fight in there because he's a talent for sure. He's got just great skills. He's a boxer puncher. But man, I want to see how he faces the Mortazalios and the Fondoras because those are two very tricky guys. Obviously, Virgil's a fight that people have wanted for years. That one's super tricky as well. So, man, those four for sure are the goods at 154.
Yeah. Big Bro says Virgil has already beat 2 of the top 5. Fundora has only beat Timmy under special circumstances. Who else has he beat that's elite, he says.
Yeah. Yeah, Virgil is the goods, man. Again, Virgil against Murtazalia, man, that one just has like two offensive forces, very, come forward forces, two strong dudes. Man, that one's scary. That's a fight of the year as well. But yeah, with Virgil always has that extra gear. Wherever he fights, he always has that extra gear more than them. And even though when he gets hurt, he somehow has a great chin. Even when he gets dropped, he gets up, and he's got that will that you just can't teach. So yeah, that's man. Yeah, Virgil is. I feel like he should have had a true full fledged championship a while ago, but for whatever reason he doesn't. But he's definitely, if we're not counting the belt, he's definitely top two, top three in that 154.
Hey, Big Bro has a good point. Looking at Fundora, his best win is Erickson Lubin. And he did get knocked out versus Brian Mendoza. And then the 2 victories versus Timmy Zhu. So we might have to flip that, Chris. We might have to go Virgil
Yeah,
2, not gonna lie.
yeah.
Azali of 1, Virgil 2, Sebastian Fundora 3.
Obviously, I think I would obviously favor
Big Bro
Virgil
didn't even put Fundora in his top 5.
He did not. You gotta put some respect on Fundora, man. He's a tricky fighter, man. But yeah, I think when people put Fundora against Virgil, it just almost feels like Virgil has, just too much power, and that chin is suspect for Fundora. I will say I feel like Fundora has gotten better since he got that title. It's almost like he's ascended another level. But again, Virgil's already on that level as well. So that's a tricky fight, man. Again, Pandora's got that length and that reach that has made a lot of very, very good fighters look very average. So we'll see when it happens, man. But 154 is red hot, and we just want to get the ball rolling, Joe. We just want to start getting, obviously the Murtazalievs don't get the same coverage that these other guys get. So we're just trying to balance out that playing field.
Nerd says, but who's Murtazaliev's best win? It's also Timmy. Yeah, man. But the way that he did it, 3 rounds.
The way that he did it, man. That's the way that he did
3
it.
rounds.
Come on now.
I think Murtazaliev is one of the few guys that I'm willing to really rank super high, even though his resume isn't the most impressive. Just because the way he destroys people, you don't see that very often. 23-0, 17 KOs. He's 32. And man, like I said, I don't think I would pick anyone to beat this guy at 154. If I had to pick, probably just Virgil, not even Boots. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I want to challenge people. If you guys just barely discovered Murtazalia, watch his fight before he fought Tin Tszyu, man. He was in a back and forth battle with dude that he fought before Tin Tszyu. That one was a tough fight. And they kept going back and forth. That's one of those fights that goes under the radar because people don't know, Murtazalia back then and his opponent. But that last fight, man, they were just throwing bombs. Murtazalia was getting caught with some of those big exchanges against Jack Colque. So check that out, man. I won't obviously you guys know who's undefeated, but I won't tell you how that fight ended. I challenge you guys to go watch that fight. It's insane.
Yeah, and to kind of put that into perspective, he destroyed Tim Tszyu. Destroyed him. It wasn't even close. He knocked him down since the first round. Fundora went life and death with Timmy. With Tim, blood in both eyes, dog, and I can't see. Like 50 said, couldn't see for 8, 9 rounds. And I still thought Tim Tszyu won that fight against Fundora. So, but yeah, we'll see. Hey, if someone gives Murtazalia a chance, I think the world will find out. But as of now, nobody wants to roll that dice, man. Nobody wants to give him a chance, and they're very, very frustrated over there.
Yeah. Yeah, on my behalf, man, it's a great time at that 154 division. These guys need to be fighting each other, man. If there's any division that right now can keep boxing red hot, it's that 154. I'm not putting my money on the 140s, man. Those 140 guys are all over the place right now, man, to be honest. Yeah, man, 154, man.
There is no top 5 at 147, man. The list starts at 6th.
Man, dude, I'm gonna walk into Robert Garcia, man. I'm gonna be walking into some straight rights, Gio.
There, we'll put it on the screen so they know it's not you. Good point, nerd. Good point. All I'm saying is Murtazalia is different. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, hopefully we find out, man. Hopefully he gets the chance. Because, yeah. And I think at 62, I don't know if anyone beats him at 60. I think the fight with Janibek would be great. But this guy's a real deal. But yeah, Chris, anything else that we got? Or are we ready to roll?
I'm ready to go, man. Rolly, if you get that fight, you better give us that interview, man. You remember us from day one, dog. Who knows?
Let's go. All right. Thank you, mates. Thanks for tuning in. We just wanted to give you guys a quick episode. We'll be back soon. All right. September is when all the action is going to heat up. All right. We got Inoue in September. Of course, we got Canelo Crawford. So things are going to heat up, man. But thank you guys for tuning in. We'll continue to post those interviews with Murtazalia that Chris has been getting in the last few weeks. And we're going to continue to post other interviews as well. So stay tuned, mates. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Vámonos.
Peace.
Shout out, Roddy.
Let's go, mates. Shakur,
Vámonos.
Tio, and Haney's top 5 at 147, he says. Big bro. Ain't mad at that. Those guys will be anyone at 47. Let's go, mates. Let's go, Bakram. Spasiba.
Spasiba.
That means thank you in Russian, guys.
Shout out Coach Roma. Oh.
Peace.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Francisco Gallo. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas, un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Huge shout out to Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time out y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.